Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Happy Cat Crypto here. So I'm seeing a lot of new faces here on the channel, so welcome if you're new. This is a channel where we don't, FOMO people in. We try to stay by the facts as much as possible. We talk to the most highest positions of information that we can, the developers and people like that. And we just don't, bring people in and not educate them and not actually help the blockchain that we're involved with or the coins that we're speaking about. I always like to help, instead of just talking a good one, we're actually doing something. So today is about educating people, and it's one of those videos which is very educational, and it's understanding exactly where are your coins going. And this is a question lots of people are asking, are my coins safe? Can a validator run off with my coins? Where have my coins gone? What are they being used for? And so many questions as to, what is staking? So let's go over to Teradox. Now, Teradox is pretty much your go-to for anything where you want to actually know things and understand a bit more about the blockchain. So what is staking? When Luna holders delegate their Luna to a validator, they are staking. Staking increases a validator's weight, which helps them, and in return, delegators get rewarded. The Columbus 5 mainnet is a proof of stake POS chain. It's a public one, by the way. This means a validator's weight, which is their total stake, is determined by the amount of staking tokens, which is LUNACLASSIC. They delegate to themselves plus the Luna bonded to them by external delegators, which is you. The weight of the validator determines whether or not they are an active validator and how frequently they can propose a block. Validators with a higher weight will propose more blocks and in turn make more revenue. So the more people that delegate with you, the more revenue that node's going to make. The active validator set is made up of 130 validators who hold the most Luna. The bottom validator's stake always forms the barrier for entry into the network. Creating a validator with more stake than the bottom validator is the only way to enter the active set. If validators double sign or are frequently offline, they risk their staked Luna, including the Luna delegated by users being slashed by the protocol to penalize negligence and misbehavior. Okay, so what you can understand there is, the more you stake as a delegator, the higher your rewards become. And that's the same for a node. And your stake power, your stake amount determines your voting power. And in effect, your voting power, right, determines the rewards amounts because you can propose more blocks. Now, moving over to what is a delegator, and a delegator is you as the person who's staking. Delegators are Luna holders who want to receive staking rewards without the responsibility of running a validator through the Terra station. A user can delegate Luna to a validator and in exchange receive part of a validator's revenue. For more detail on how revenue is distributed, see what are the incentives to stake and what is a validator's commission. We'll get onto that shortly. Delegators share the benefits and rewards of staking with their validator. If a validator is successful, its delegators will consistently share in the reward structure. If a validator is slashed, the delegator's stake will also be slashed. This is why delegators should perform due diligence on validators before delegating, and delegators can also diversify by spreading their total stake over multiple validators. Delegators play a critical role in the system as they are responsible for choosing validators. Being a delegator is not a passive role. Delegators should remain vigilant and actively monitor the actions of their validators and redelegate whenever they feel their current validator does not meet their needs. So moving on to what are the incentives to stake. So each member of a validator's staking pool earns revenue. Compute gas fees to prevent spamming. Validators can set minimum gas fees for transactions to be included in their mempool. At the end of every block, compute fees are dispersed to the participating validators proportional to their stake. This total revenue is divided among validators' staking pool accordingly to each validator's weight. The revenue is then divided among the delegators in proportion to each delegator's stake. Note that a commission on delegators' revenue is applied by the validator before it is distributed. Okay, so let's go now down to, and it's down here somewhere, and it is, hang on a second, it might be up. Can a validator run away with a delegator's Luna? No. By delegating to a validator, users delegate staking power. The more staking power a validator has, the more weight it has in the consensus and processes. This does not mean that the validator has custody of its delegator's Luna. Important, it is impossible for a validator to run away with a delegator's funds. Although delegated funds cannot be stolen by a validator, delegators are still liable if a validator misbehaves. When this happens, a delegator's stake will be partially slashed in proportion to their relative stake. How often will a validator be chosen to propose the next block? Does it go up with the quantity of Luna staked? The validator that is selected to mine the next block is called the proposer or the leader. In the consensus for the round, each proposer is selected deterministically, and the frequency of being chosen is equal to the relative total stake of the validator. Total stake equals self-bonded stake plus delegator stake. For example, if the total bonded stake across all validators is 100 Luna, a validator's total stake is 10 Luna, then this validator will be chosen 10% of the time as the proposer. To understand more about proposer selection in Tendermint BFT consensus, read more in their official docs. And we'll go and look at that another time, because that really is a whole different world. It's a whole nother video. And I don't like to, I always get worried that I lose people and overload them with information. I myself, I like to absorb information in clusters, in steps, in short, brief intervals. So what is a validator's commission? The revenue received by a validator's pool is split between a validator and their delegators. So pretty much this whole idea around the validator's commission, as you folks can now understand, is that the more a validator has staked with it, the higher its rewards are going to be. And it's the same for you. The more you delegate to a node, the higher your rewards are going to be. And the amount delegated to a node equals out to voting power. So this whole situation currently with the reduction from the agreed 20% down to 10% or possibly 5% cap on voting power, I'm unsure if this means that rewards will all go down and be really cut drastically from 20% to possibly 5 or 10%. I just don't know. And then it raises the question of, will we lose a load of validators because it's not profitable anymore? It's very close to the profit margins for some people. So it's all, unanswered questions, and this proposal going up, scary, especially scary for a non-profit node and other nodes across the board. And like I'm saying, I don't understand if it's going to affect the rewards that are dished out, because reading this here, it's a little bit hazy as to how it works. But from what I can make out, like I've explained to you folks and read from this, is that the more a node has delegated to it, the higher its vote power. And all of that determines how much they get in rewards, right? Because they've got more coins delegated to them. So it's scary that this could happen in a time where we need the validators. Validators are so important because they're the ones who commit blocks, mine blocks, and make the security of the ecosystem itself secure. So right now, as it stands, we're not even at the stage of allowing new validators to join. And when this first came about, I thought, this is really good, it's really good security for the blockchain. But from where I'm sitting now, I'm thinking there's nearly 1 trillion coins staked in total. It's pretty secure, and having more validators on board means we have more security. We don't even have an active set yet, meaning that there's no barrier for entry, right? So, a lot of people have already got into position. A lot of the coins that were going to get staked are now staked, and having more validators on board will bring more volume. It will attract new projects. It will allow people like me to create a node instead of having to wait another 45 days and possibly watching this burn tax do some good damage to the supply, but also dwindle the volume maybe. And having more validators on board makes things more secure. It's just all about having trusted validators, so to speak. But we've got to make that jump. We are making that jump in 45 days, 7 hours. But I feel like if they're going to be dropping the vote power, then possibly they should think about bringing the new validators joining the active set, so to speak. So I think that if they are going to do that, my opinion on it is that the active set should then be brought forward. So then people like myself and other people that want to create nodes can create nodes earlier and try help the blockchain with security, volume, you know, because I want to launch my NFT project attached to the node, so that anyone that purchases one of these 500 NFTs will then be able to stake them, or they'll auto stake like LUNAPunks does for Luna Classic rewards, as well as being held in your Terra Station wallet. And it's all planned out. It's ready to go. I just need to finish creating the NFTs. And it's as simple as that. And it's going to be really good. And I've no doubt a lot of you know what the idea behind it is. I'm not going to be saying it just in case some crazy person out there decides to steal the idea and pump it out before I do. So you know how it be. Folks, stay safe out there. I hope you got some really informative like bits and bobs from this. I'll leave a link to this in the video description. Stay informed, stay educated, and just stay in the know. It's all about being current and staying with, you know, an influencer that's not going to just, as soon as the next thing starts pumping or becomes interesting, just going to bail out on you and go to something else. So I'm here to serve the Luna Classic community until my dying days. I will always be here, and then I will likely hand this all off to my son and have him prepared to continue our glorious work. You know, 80 years down the line, if I live that long, hopefully, you know, they come out with some crazy technology which make you live a little bit longer. So yeah, folks, stay safe out there, okay? None of this is financial advice. I will never ever DM you, okay? Understand that. I'll never just DM you. Okay, I'm so busy just trying to keep up with all the different projects we're working on, working with, and speaking to know all of the different devs inside Terra Rebels, including Vegas, Zada, and people like that. So I'm just not going to DM you first, okay? It's never ever going to happen. You can reach me in my Telegram group, or you can DM me on Twitter. It's as simple as that. Folks, catch you in the next one. And remember, it's not financial advice. If you haven't subscribed here, consider subscribing. Help us gain more reach, help us grow, help us get up there with the big boys, and really help us do some damage and really help the overall crypto community. Folks, catch you in the next one.